You didn't arrive here by chance. This prayer didn't find its way to you by accident. There are times when God speaks in silence, in small, almost imperceptible signs. But not today. Today, something greater has brought you to this moment. There is an urgency in your heart that heaven has already recognized. There is a request so profound that it has already been heard even before it was uttered. And that is why Saint Carlo Acutis approaches now, with the pure strength of the faith that marked his life, to intercede for you. Take a deep breath and allow the loving presence of God to envelop your spirit as you listen to these words. Perhaps you arrived here weary, with a heavy chest and the feeling that the struggle has been too heavy. Perhaps there is an illness worrying you, a pain that no one can understand, a diagnosis that frightens you. Or perhaps it is someone you love, someone who needs urgent intervention, someone for whom you would give anything to see restored. When the heart is broken, even breathing hurts, and when the soul is at its limit, it seems that nothing else can help. But it is precisely in these moments that God reveals the impossible. And when the impossible needs to happen quickly, when life cries out for help, when an urgent miracle becomes indispensable, Saint Carlo Acutis rises before heaven as a powerful intercessor. Before we continue, I need to ask you something essential. This channel is a spiritual mission that grows through your presence. Here, every day, a new prayer is published to renew your faith and strengthen your journey. If this message is touching your heart, I sincerely ask you to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Be part of this daily chain of prayer, because it is through this gesture that you contribute to more people, like you, finding comfort, strength and hope when they need it most. It seems like a simple click, but it transforms lives, reaches people who are crying alone, and strengthens an entire community that prays together. I truly invite you to walk with me every day, because while you hear these words, something is already moving in the spiritual world. Heaven never ignores a sincere heart. Heaven never fails to answer those who cry out with true faith. Saint Carlo Acutis understood that miracles happen where there is surrender and trust, and that is what we are going to do now. Let us surrender together everything that has weighed you down. The pain you feel, the urgency that brought you here, the request you keep deep in your heart, all of this will be placed in the hands of one who lived with purity, truth, and profound love for God. Perhaps you are holding back tears. Perhaps you are trying to be strong for too long, without knowing how much longer you can endure. Perhaps you have reached the point where you can no longer find the words to ask for help. But today, you are not asking alone. Today, Saint Carlo Acutis joins your voice. He takes your name before the Father, presenting your request as something precious, urgent, and sacred. He looks upon your pain with the compassion of one who has also faced trials, and offers his intercession with the luminous faith that marked his journey. Allow these words to embrace your soul. Allow this introduction to rekindle the flame of hope within you. Urgent miracles do not depend on the size of the difficulty, but on the heart's willingness to believe. And the fact that you are here now, listening, feeling, breathing with intention, is already the first sign that God has begun to act. Something is happening beyond what your eyes can see. An answer is being prepared at this very moment. Take a deep breath. The healing you seek, the miracle you cry out for, the intervention your heart needs, all of this is being placed before God through the intercession of Saint Carlo Acutis. It is not a coincidence. It is not chance. It is providence. This is the moment. This is your time. Let's begin the prayer. Saint Carlo Acutis, at this moment I stand before you with all the sincerity of my heart. I come with my frailties exposed, with what I have and what I lack, with the strength that remains and with the fears that sometimes paralyze me. I know that you, who lived with so much faith and such dedication, understand human suffering and recognize when a soul arrives afflicted, in need of an urgent touch from heaven. I ask you to draw near to my life now, like a spiritual friend, extending a hand in the midst of the storm. Look at what weighs on my chest, at what troubles my thoughts, at what leaves me directionless. None of this is hidden from God, but today I ask that you take my plea directly to his heart, as one who intercedes with love, compassion, and truth. Saint Charles, you who experience the divine presence so vividly, I ask that you help me to feel that presence as well. May I perceive heaven moving in my favor, even when everything around me seems still. May I trust, even though my strength is small, that there is a possible and urgent miracle reserved for me. I place before you the situation that hurts me the most, and that most needs immediate intervention. You know what I carry. You know what I have been through. Therefore, with all humility, I ask you to present my need before God, to touch what is wounded, to illuminate what is dark, to strengthen what is fragile. Saint Charles, I beseech you to now envelop my life with the light that God has granted you. May this light penetrate the places where no one can reach, the corners of my soul that even I cannot explain. May it bring clarity where there is confusion, peace where there is torment, hope where there is darkness. May this light be like a divine breath, dissolving everything that tries to weaken me, discourage me, or lead me away from the purpose that God has for me. Look with mercy upon my request. I do not ask out of vanity, nor out of whim. I ask because I truly need it. I ask because I have already tried to solve it alone and have reached my limit. I ask because only God can do the impossible, and you, Saint Charles, are an intercessor who understands the urgency, the pain, and the depth of what I bring today. Take to heaven not only my words, but also the feelings that I cannot put into words. Take what is hidden in the silences of my heart. Saint Charles, at this moment I ask you to go before me in my situation. Touch what is blocked. Move what is stagnant, undo the knots that are preventing my miracle from happening. May your intercession open the right doors, break down invisible blockages, put everything in order according to God's will, and may what seems impossible today become living proof that God acts, God restores, and God surprises. Saint Charles, I ask you to remain by my side with even greater intensity now, because there are pains within me that I almost never tell anyone about. There are fears that I hide even from myself. There are memories, wounds, and insecurities that sometimes reappear out of nowhere, trying to convince me that I am not capable, that it won't work out, that nothing will change. And it is precisely at these times that I most need to feel the presence of heaven, not as a distant idea, but as a real, living, and active force. You who were so sensitive to people's needs, you who saw beyond the surface, look at my story with that same compassionate gaze. I don't ask you to judge my flaws, but to understand my humanity. I don't ask for perfection, only acceptance. May you gather each fragment of what I am experiencing now and present them before God with the same purity and truth with which you lived your faith. Saint Charles, touch the center of my life, that exact point where pain seems to originate. Touch the place where I most need healing, whether in my body, my mind, my heart, or my soul. Bless my sleepless nights, my worries, my repetitive thoughts. Bless the tears I shed unseen and those I held back so as not to worry those I love. Carry each one of them to heaven as a silent plea that I often didn't even know how to express. I also ask that you protect my spiritual path. May discouragement not lead me away from prayer. May fear not distance me from God. May anxiety not steal my faith. Rekindle within me the certainty that even when everything seems at a standstill, God is working behind the scenes of my life, preparing something that goes beyond what I can understand now. Give me strength to wait, courage to continue, and faith to believe even when logic says otherwise. And if there are opposing forces trying to mislead, confuse, or weaken me, I ask that you, Saint Charles, be at the forefront of each one of them. May you be the shield that covers me, the light that dispels what is dark, the presence that keeps me firm when doubt tries to overwhelm me. Walk beside me and, when necessary, walk before me, opening paths, dismantling traps, eliminating obstacles that I am not even able to see. I place everything in your hands, what I know, what I don't know, what I fear, what I hope for, what I dream of. I place my urgent request, the one that burns within me, with the confidence of someone who knows they are not alone. Saint Charles, stay with me. I still have much to give. Saint Charles, I remain here with an open heart, because there are still areas of my life that urgently need your intercession. There are situations that seem to have been stuck for so long that my heart no longer knows if it feels weariness, fear, or just a profound silence. But I refuse to give up. I refuse to accept that this pain is permanent. I cling to faith, even when it seems small, because I know that God transforms even the smallest seed into something great. And that is why I persist in this prayer. I persist because I believe. I ask you now to look at all the areas of my life where healing is needed. Look at the fragile relationships, the broken bonds, the hurtful words, and the wounds that time has failed to erase. Take all of this before God and ask Him to touch with mercy, to restore what can be restored, to end what needs to be ended, and to strengthen what still has a chance to flourish. May nothing remain paralyzed when divine grace decides to act. Look also at my financial life, at the doors that haven't opened, at the opportunities that have slipped away, at the fears that have prevented me from moving forward. I ask that through your intercession, God open paths I never imagined, that He shine a light where there are limitations today, that He give me intelligence, clarity, and direction to make better, wiser choices, more aligned with the purpose He has envisioned for me. May everything that is hindering my growth fall to the ground before celestial power. Saint Charles, intercede also for my thoughts. Sometimes they are like storms that prevent me from seeing the truth. Sometimes they create scenarios that don't even exist, fuel unfounded worries, or make me feel smaller than I really am. I ask you to touch my mind now. May God, through your intercession, calm what is agitated, silence what is excessive, and strengthen what is good, pure, and true within me. May my mind be a place of peace and not a battlefield. And if there is any spiritual force trying to steal my hope, I ask you to stand between me and any shadow that tries to approach. May your light, reflecting the light of God, be enough to protect me, to guard me, to keep me safe. May I always walk under this protection, feeling that I am not alone, that there is an invisible support sustaining me at every step, even when I don't realize it. Saint Charles, stay with me because my heart still has profound things to pour out before God through your intercession. There are pains that I have carried in silence for so long that they have become mingled with my breath. There are internal battles that I fight daily, without anyone around me having any idea, and that is why this prayer needs to continue. Because today, I don't want to hide anything. Today, I want to place everything in the light of divine grace. I ask you now to look at my emotional roots, at everything that for a long time has shaped how I feel, how I think, how I act. Sometimes I carry the marks of old situations, words I heard, fears I learned, frustrations that have been repeated. Touch these areas, Saint Charles. May God's light pass through each scar, bringing healing, liberation, and rest. May everything that still binds me to the past be dissolved by divine mercy. Look also at my decisions. There are choices I need to make that affect my future, my stability, my heart. I ask you for wisdom, clarity, and direction. May God, through your intercession, show me the right path, even if it seems narrow. May He close the wrong doors, even if I insist on them, and open those that truly belong to my story, even if I don't yet feel ready to enter them. May I be guided, not by fear, but by faith. Saint Charles, intercede also for the people I love. Some of them carry pains that I cannot heal, problems that I cannot solve, battles that I cannot fight for them. I ask you to extend your light to each of them. May God care for, protect, strengthen, heal, transform, and bless those who are in my heart. May no one I love be left without divine support at this time. And I ask you further to touch my body, Saint Charles. If there is any illness, any physical weakness, any invisible process affecting me, take it before God. May He touch where I cannot touch. May He heal what medicine has not yet reached. May He restore what seems damaged, renew what is weary, strengthen what has been weakened. May my body be enveloped by the divine presence, and may any shadow of illness be dispelled by the light of heaven. Saint Charles, I remain here because there is still a deep part of my soul that needs to be placed before God, and I don't want to hold anything back. At this moment, I ask you to help me open my heart completely, without fear of what may come to light, without apprehension of what will be revealed. Because I know that before heaven, nothing is a cause for shame. Everything can be transformed, everything can be healed, everything can be restored when it is surrendered with truth. I ask you to also look at the weariness I have been carrying, not just physical weariness, but that emotional exhaustion that accumulates over time, that weighs on my shoulders, that steals the sparkle from my eyes, that makes me feel like I am always fighting, always trying, always resisting. Saint Charles, take this weight to God. Ask Him to renew my strength, to restore my vitality, to return to my spirit the vigor that has been lost in the daily battles. May I feel the lightness of grace and the rest that only heaven can offer. Look also at my dreams, even those I've set aside. Dreams that were forgotten because life became too heavy. Dreams that were shelved out of fear, insecurity, lack of support. I ask you to take these dreams before God. May He breathe life into what still has purpose. May He rekindle what still has a future. May He show me what I should insist on, what I should transform, and what I should surrender. May no dream that is part of my mission be lost along the way. And if there is something hindering my spiritual growth, something I don't even realize, but that is weakening my faith, I ask that you reveal this point, Saint Charles. May God illuminate what needs to be corrected, taught, or abandoned. May my heart be docile to learn, to change, to grow. I want to walk closer to heaven. I want to live more aligned with the divine will. I want my life to be guided by the Spirit of God and not by my fears or impulses. And, Saint Charles, I also ask you to deeply touch my hope. There are times when it seems too small, too fragile, almost disappearing. Rekindle that hope within me. Make it pulsate again, breathe, propel me forward. May I believe again in what God can do, even when everything around me says otherwise. May I look to the future again with confidence and not with fear. Saint Charles, stay with me because there are still layers of my heart that need to be laid before heaven with depth. There are feelings that I have hidden for so long that I have almost become accustomed to carrying them as if they were a natural part of me. But today, in this prayer, I no longer want to normalize what hurts. I want to surrender every part, even those that I avoided facing for fear of reliving the wound. I ask you to look at my deepest fears, those I rarely confess. The fear of failing, the fear of trying and not succeeding, the fear of being disappointed again, the fear of losing what I love. These fears, Saint Charles, sometimes paralyze me, silence me, imprison me. I ask you to take each one of them to God. May He transform these fears into courage, into living faith, into real trust in the divine plan. May He teach me to walk despite fear, to move forward even trembling, to believe even when I see nothing changing. Look also to the place in my heart where silent sadness dwells. That sadness that doesn't scream, but weighs heavily. The sadness that appears at night when the world is quiet. The sadness that accompanies my steps, even when I try to show strength. I ask that this sadness be touched by the hand of God, that it be dissolved, softened, transformed, that I recover the joy that comes from above, the joy that does not depend on circumstances, but on the divine presence within me. St. Charles, also look upon my unanswered requests, upon those old prayers I made with faith, but which have not yet received an answer. Sometimes this troubles me, makes me insecure, makes me question if heaven is listening. I ask you that, as I take these requests to God, He shows me that no cry is lost, that no tear is ignored, that no plea is forgotten. May He give me patience to wait, understanding to trust, and wisdom to perceive that God's timing is perfect, even if I don't understand it. And I also ask you to look at the areas where I needed to be too strong for too long, places where I endured more than anyone can imagine, where I had to smile when I wanted to cry, where I held everything together alone because I had no choice. St. Charles, present this before God. Ask Him to heal this emotional exhaustion, to restore my inner self, to give me back my ability to feel lightness, to breathe deeply, to believe in tomorrow with serenity. St. Charles, stay with me because there are still areas of my soul that need to be touched by divine light. Sometimes, within me, there are conflicts that I don't know how to resolve. There is a struggle between who I am and who I want to be, between what I feel and what I try to hide, between what I hope for and what reality seems to show. And it is in these internal contradictions that I most need your intercession, so that God may bring order where there is confusion and peace where there is torment. I ask you to look at the bonds that have hurt me, at the words that have left marks, at the disappointments that have left scars, at the broken promises that have taken away a piece of my trust. Sometimes I carry these wounds like someone carrying a weight strapped to their chest. St. Charles, take this before God. Ask Him to heal these scars, to restore my ability to trust, to give back to my heart the freedom to love without fear and without reservations. Look also at my limitations. There are things I would like to change in myself, but I can't do it alone. There are patterns that repeat themselves, mistakes I don't understand, attitudes that bind me to cycles I no longer want to live. I ask you to take all of this before heaven. May God give me the strength to break what needs to be broken, the discipline to transform what needs to be transformed, and the grace to remain steadfast even when the process is difficult. St. Charles, intercede for the situations that bring me anxiety, for the difficult conversations I need to have, for the decisions I can no longer postpone, for the paths I am still unsure whether to follow. May God grant me serenity to deal with what I cannot control, clarity to see what is right, and courage to act according to God's will. May anxiety no longer be a constant shadow, but rather replaced by a deep trust in God's guidance. I also ask you to look at all my attempts to start over, at every time I tried to get up after a fall, at every silent effort I made to move forward, even hurt, even tired. Take all of this before God as proof of my perseverance. May He honor my new beginnings. May He strengthen my decisions. May He illuminate every step taken with sincerity. St. Charles, stay with me because there are still deep areas of my life that need to be surrendered with complete transparency before God. There are parts of me that have been hardened by time, others weakened by pain, and still others silenced for fear of not being understood. And today, in this prayer, I don't want to hide anything. I want every fragment of my heart to be presented to heaven through your intercession. I ask you to look at all the times I felt alone, even surrounded by people. Moments when I needed to be strong, when, inside, everything within me was crumbling. Moments when I smiled on the outside while carrying a world of worries inside. St. Charles, take these memories before God. Ask him to heal these feelings of abandonment, to fill the voids that no one else could fill, to restore my inner self so profoundly that I may once again feel belonging, support, and spiritual security. Look also at the situations where I blame myself, at the mistakes I made unintentionally, at the impulsive decisions, at the paths I took thinking they were right, and then discovered they weren't. Sometimes the weight of guilt tries to block me, tries to make me believe that I don't deserve the miracle I ask for. But I know that God is mercy, not condemnation. Therefore take all of this to him. May his grace cleanse, liberate, transform. May I learn from what I've lived through, but may I not remain trapped in the past. I also ask you to intercede for all areas of my life that are silent, places where nothing seems to move forward, where everything seems stagnant, where I feel I pray, hope, strive, but see no change. Saint Charles, present this silence before God. May he show me that silence is not abandonment, but preparation. May he move what needs to be moved. May he unlock what is blocked. May he accelerate what is ready, and may he give me patience where the time has not yet come. Look at my unstable emotions, at the days when I'm strong, and at the days when everything within me seems fragile, at the times when my spirits waver for no reason, at the moments when my strength suddenly disappears. I ask you to ask God to stabilize my inner self. May he give me balance, firmness, constancy. May my faith not be shaken by the winds of life, but remain solid even when my heart wavers. St. Charles, I implore you to also look upon that which I do not yet have the courage to ask aloud, upon the most secret desires of my heart, upon the dreams I keep hidden for fear of seeming impossible, upon the needs I hold on to because I don't even know how to put them into words. Present all of this before God, even that which I do not say. May he see, know, and touch these areas with divine love and precision. And when loneliness tries to convince me that I am walking aimlessly, it instills in my heart the certainty that each of my steps is being accompanied by heaven, even when I don't feel it, and even when I don't see it. May this silent presence remind me that I am not lost, only being guided along paths I do not yet understand. If one day my heart loses the rhythm of faith, Saint Carlo, breathe upon me the same fire that burned within you, that simple, pure, and profound love that made you see God even in the little things, in the silent hours and in moments of waiting. May that love reach me and awaken me again. May I learn from you to transform my fears into surrender, my pain into prayer, and my doubts into trust. May I be able to surrender to God, not only what hurts me, but also what I don't understand, what I can't yet name, and what I keep so deep that even I can't reach it. May my soul find space to breathe again. When tears threaten to visit me, may they not be a sign of defeat, but of healing and rebirth. May each one wash away a piece of what no longer serves me, making room for the new that God wishes to pour upon me. May I recognize, even in pain, the seed of something greater. St. Charles, teach me to wait without losing myself, to believe without compromising my hope, and to remain steadfast even when everything within me wants to give up. May your intercession reach the places where my strength fails me and touch the battles I cannot fight alone. May your light illuminate the paths that seem too dark. At the end of each day, may I feel that my journey was not in vain, that there was purpose in my weariness, meaning in my struggle, and beauty in my resilience. May I always remember that God does not abandon those who trust him, does not forget those who cry out to him, and does not forsake those who place their hearts in his hands. And so today I surrender myself, I open myself up, and I yield. I ask you, St. Charles, stay with me, intercede for me, and take to heaven all that I can no longer carry alone. Amen. If you are hearing these words, believe me, it is no coincidence. There is something greater guiding your steps to this moment, something that wants to reach your heart right now. This prayer was prepared for you, for your pain, for your request, for that which only you and God know. Each phrase carries a special light, created to break down barriers and open paths where before there was only silence. And before we continue, I want you to participate in this sacred moment with me. Write in the comments the request that weighs on your heart, that which you need to see transformed through the intercession of Saint Carlo Acutis. Don't be afraid to expose your soul. This is a space of faith, of acceptance, of healing. When you write, you release, you surrender, you trust. And this surrender opens doors you never imagined. If you can, write truthfully, with hope, and with the certainty that heaven is reading along with me. Because it is. Nothing you feel goes unnoticed by God. Nothing you ask for goes unanswered. And this prayer is an invitation for divine grace to begin to act in your life. And I ask something more of you. If there is someone you love who is going through an impossible battle, someone who is tired, someone who urgently needs guidance, send this video to that person. You could be the instrument God has chosen today to touch a life that is almost giving up. A simple gesture can change everything. It could be the missing message, the missing strength, the miracle that was on its way. Write your request, share this prayer, and keep your heart open. Saint Carlo Acutis is already before God, interceding for those who have faith, and that includes you at this very moment.